What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another install video. I'm going to be making a few more of these little ones whilst we're, still in lockdown and whatnot. I have something that's very important for my car. When you do something that an engine's not supposed to do, like putting a turbo on a 1HZ, you need sensors to be able to tell you what is actually going on. So I have this Engine Watchdog. It's the TM4, this one. So it has a few different features you can do, but I'm just going to set it up for now to just read the temperature of the block. Some of you may not know, but the temperature gauge on this thing is incredibly inaccurate because it only changes once your coolant is too hot. So it doesn't actually give you a very accurate reading at all. So this, you can set an alarm, it'll buzz at you, tell you what's going on. But yeah, it should be pretty easy. It's literally just a power wire and then one wire that goes to the block, and you find a bolt and bolt it on. You can set it up for other things like running thermos and all that kind of fancy stuff, which I don't have yet, but I will get it. This has been on my to-do list for quite some time. It is incredibly bright today, but first thing to do is figure out where you want to mount it and run all your wires. So in my car, I'm thinking I'm just going to put it down there, kind of behind on that panel. So it is out of the way, but I can still see it. It's pretty basic interior mine, so it's kind of easy. You literally just screw in. And then once you've kind of thought of where you're going to put it, just think about where you're going to run all your wires, because it's nothing worse than just going in blind and then you realise that it's a pain in the ass to run all the wires. Main thing is getting the wire to the block. Basically, I've run some air lines up underneath the car, basically next to my seat, so through a grommet. So I'm going to run it down through the dash into that, so then it's underneath the car and then going to come up to the motor. Because I have a stupid amount of wires coming through the firewall. It's not good. Definitely needs to be sorted out. So this is where I expose myself and how crappy all the wiring is run in this car. I have basically the easiest car to run wires on. I've just pulled that off, which was 2 bolts. Basically where I'm going to put it, you can see I've actually already run the wires there. There's actually just a gap behind the dash, so I've just run them up into here. Then I'm going to run them across. I'm just going to tap into one of the wires for the boost gauge. For the power, because obviously it's not going to draw a lot of power, so I can just do that instead of running a whole wire. And then run the temperature cable basically down this edge, and then in here is where all my air hoses and stuff are run from my compressor, well, my old compressor, straight out that gap down there and then to the motor. And pretty much just find an earth and it'll just work. It's a very simple install. I like simple installs, but yeah, the wiring in this car is not the best. Back when I put stuff in, when I had zero idea of what I was doing, so it's messy. Shane from ProWire does not like working on my car because it's all over the place. Alright, so I've actually just run all the wiring. I still need to tidy up underneath the car, but I'm gonna get under here and try and show you where I put it all. As you can see, that's where everything comes out. So it runs up over the exhaust over a heat shield. I've run a couple of wires through there and it's fine. Up over the chassis, as you can see, it comes down here. It's just hanging down at the moment. I've got to tidy it up. And then on the edge of the block there, I just found a hole that was not used. Found a bolt. Had to cut the bolt down and wind it in and out a few times to get some dirt out. But that seems like a good spot for it all. So yeah, I just got to tidy up this wiring. Ideally, I should cut it shorter, but I'm actually running a bit low on time, so I'm going to cable tie it up out of the way. Before you put everything back together and mount it, you always want to just double check that your wiring works. That blue wire there is for like your thermo fans and whatnot. So I've got it set on the ignition, turn it on. As you can see, it's upside down at the moment. My motor is 44 degrees. So that's all working. I'll put it all back together, just like 2 screws into this plastic bit there, and we're done. All right, it is a new day. I got distracted yesterday and I forgot to film the end of this. So basically it's all done in the car. Drove it around yesterday just to make sure it was working. I'll just run you through it, and also can I just add, Troopy got a wash the other day. That doesn't happen very frequently with this car. Not gonna lie, it was about 2 months since I last washed it. It was pretty bad. Didn't clean the inside though, that's just standard for me. As you can see, it's mounted down there. The wires are tucked up behind, all nice like, so you can't even really see it. You can see it from the driver's seat, which is what I wanted. So I'll just go ahead and turn it on to just the ignition so you can see. I had the car turn on a lot earlier this morning, so there you go, 18 degrees. So it's kind of a cold start, so I'll start it up for you so you guys can judge how well this starts. It always has a rattle when it starts because I've got a bracket which I need to take off. It was for an old compressor setup and it's rattling around because it's loose. So don't mind that. Apart from that, I think this car starts up pretty good for something with 514,000 Ks. too shabby, I think. Now there is one thing to note with this, because the wire is obviously on the outside of the block. It's not an instant like that's when the temperature changes, because it has to heat up the block. So it's reasonably quick, but it's not like absolutely instant, because the heat has to come through the block first. It's pretty basic. I shouldn't really have to explain that, but I thought it's just worth mentioning. So we'll just jump in now. It takes quite a while to warm up if you just idle it. We'll see if it's gone up at all. Oh yeah, there you go. So it's up to 19. There you go. It's on 20. It is nice having like a live update of exactly where the motor is at temperature wise. Yeah, this temperature gauge here, oh, that is dusty. Good lord, that temperature gauge there, it's not great. It's not great to go off. I know it's kind of cold, but can't help myself. So I have the alarm set at 102. It was set at 100 when it came out of the box, and I just messed around with it and went up to 102. I'm not entirely sure what that should be at. I had to talk to my mechanic mate Mitch, and he said he thinks it should be running in around 85, 80 degrees. You don't really want it to get to 100, so I'll probably adjust it down to maybe 90, 95. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't really driven it enough to actually know where it's sitting. But yeah, if someone knows what my car should be running at, just normal driving, put it in the comments, I'd like to know. But I think this is just a really good mod to do to any car. My dad has a 200 series and he chucked one in his car, and his was literally just, you plugged it in, like that was it. Didn't have to do any wiring. Especially for cars that don't have any computers or sensors to tell you actually like what is going on. When you do something like I've done and put a turbo on a 1HZ, so as we all know, they're not designed to be turbo. It's running good though, just some cheap insurance, and it's a real easy mod. I gotta head into work, so it'll definitely be up to temp then, update you. I might just get a quick snippet of it when it's there, so you can see it up in temperature. Alright, so I've just been driving. It's currently on 80 degrees. When I was just cruising at 80 k's an hour at like 78 degrees, it just sat there. And then obviously when you stop, the heat builds up in the engine bay, so it gets a little bit warmer. But yeah, it seems like it likes to run at about 80 degrees. That's kind of, has been the average. It goes up to 81 and then comes down to 78, so yeah, I think around about 80 is good, so I might change that alarm to like 95 maybe instead. Because obviously when the alarm goes off, that basically means friggin' stop. But I guess we'll just have to see how we go. Yeah, I've got a lot of mods lined up for this car, which has been plunged into an even longer lockdown here in Victoria, so I can't really go out and film anything. But I have a lot of work to do on this car. I have a lot of things I want to do to be able to go touring a lot more comfortably over this summer, because hopefully we'll actually be allowed to. Yeah, the Troopy's been a little bit neglected recently. I just like got to the point where I just couldn't really be bothered. But we're back in it now. I've got heaps of stuff on order. I have heaps of stuff here actually. I've got a lot to do. If you want to see more of these videos, then follow along. I figured I should probably do, like, keep you guys on YouTube updated with what work gets done on this car, because there's a lot of work that gets done on this car all the time. But yeah, I've got some pretty cool stuff lined up for it. I'm pretty excited about it. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch you guys there.